Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Good Tuesday, the day where we cover all the good news that's going on in the week, and we scour the internet really deeply to find these stories. We can tell you that, hey, humanity is doing some things right. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we started, and we haven't had any caffeine. That's right, we're not drinking down coffee during the ad break. I promise you, we haven't had zero caffeine. We've got out of bed, rolled out of bed, used the bathroom, and sat down in front of the camera. That's it. So let's go into these headlines that we've discovered today for Good Tuesday. Today on Before Coffee, EU and Moldova agree on an energy security plan to wean the country off of Russian supplies, and only half of adults are married in Germany.
Restoration is helping native raptors thrive in Scotland, report says.
Norway nears 100% goal of all electric cars.
Hundreds of UK firms embrace the 4-day week, and 10 tips for overcoming self-doubt.
Devils take to the street as Spanish village celebrates the Endiablada festival.
And it's National Hemp Day, so not the stuff you smoke, the stuff you make ropes out of. So it is February 4th already, 2025 on Before Coffee.
Good old hemp. Really, really strong material, actually. It's one of those kind of miracle fibers, really.
Oh, yeah. Make paper out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It has multiple.
Building material.
I think
everything.
of like thousands of uses or something like that. I'm sure there used to be a phrase like hemp, the fiber of 1,000 uses or something. And that was honestly the saddest.
Faster than trees.
Yeah, and that's honestly the saddest part. Making weed illegal was you started burning all the plants. Just burned them down. You didn't even use them to make hemp or anything. You just
somebody might smoke that thing that's not going to get him high anyway.
Yeah.
Let's kill it.
Yeah, sad. All right. But we're not talking about sad stuff today. We're talking about positive stuff today. So let's talk about this whole energy security that we need for Moldova here in Europe, because recently Ukraine and Russia have cut off the supply of natural gas to Moldova and other countries nearby, which means that they are suffering through winter without enough heat. So the EU and Moldova have finally agreed on a security plan in order to get Moldova off of that Russian gas and onto, I guess, a different, probably still gas, even though we should probably wean everyone off of using natural gas and also petroleum. But what am I gonna do? People are dying out there. Like, I think actually people are dying of the cold. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna care.
Yeah.
Care about convenience.
This is from Brussels, off of AP News. The European Union and Moldova today agreed on an energy security plan aimed at weaning the country off its dependence on Russian supplies and integrating it into the 27-nation bloc's network. The EU's executive branch, the European Commission, said that Moldova would have received 250 million euros or $258 million this year, 40% of it by mid-April, after Russia's state-owned energy giant Gazprom cut supplies. You see how this is really interesting, right? When we're reading about Ukraine is the one who cut supplies, right? But this AP News article, is saying Gazprom cut supplies, which is what I've been saying, right? Russia's the one who's like, not continuing the contract too. It's a two-sided thing. It's a contract between Ukraine and Russia. It's both of them together technically, but I find it interesting that, depending on which news source you use, they say who caused the cutoff. Right? Russia did it.
Yeah. All the news has an agenda.
Yeah. Also, thank you for the 100 biddies,
if it isn't
Tommy.
Propaganda, it's trying to curry favor with power.
Daily electrical outages were imposed. Daily electrical outages were imposed after hundreds of thousands of people in the Moldova's separatist pro-Russian Transnistria region were left without heating and hot water last month over an alleged $709 million bill for the past supplies to Moldova. Reminder that these are the pro-Russian people. So Russia's state-owned energy giant Gazprom even cut off the pro-Russian area of Moldova. So they don't care. They just want money. That's probably it. They don't care about the politics. They just want money. The decision by Gazprom, which came into effect a day after a gas transit agreement between Russia and Ukraine expired, halted gas supplies to Transnistria's gas-operated Pusadrugan power plant, the country's largest, which provided a significant portion of Moldova's electricity. The Commission said that its financial package would provide support to consumers in Moldova, a candidate country for EU membership, to help pay their rising electricity bills. Some 60 million euros or $62 million is earmarked for 3,500 people left in the cold in Transnistria. Moldova, a former Soviet republic of about 2.5 million people, was left entirely dependent on Moscow for natural gas after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. Just more reasons that was a bad decision, but it has since pushed to diversify and expand its energy resources. The war also forced the EU to end its dependence on Russian energy imports as well. It faced pressure from Moscow to give up its westward shift of recent years. Transnistria broke away from Moldova after a short war in 1992, but it's not widely recognized, and also it might just end up going back to Moldova because Russia completely abandoned them. I don't know why you would still want to be part of Russia when they abandon you to the cold. Terrible. So there's your good news on the beginning of the year tragedy that's now having a positive outlook. And let's go to marriage. As an anti-marriage person myself, there is a new statistical office that has revealed in Germany that only half of all adults are actually married. People are getting married less often and later in life. According to the Federal Statistical Office, only around 50% of adults in Germany are married. At the same time, the average age at marriage has increased significantly. This is from the Tagesschau, which I apologize for saying that wrong because I only know Dutch, not German. The number of married people in Germany has fallen significantly in recent decades. Only just over half of all adults over the age of 18 have tied the knot. According to the Federal Statistical Office, according to the report, around 35 million people will be married by the end. However, the number and proportion of married people have been falling almost continuously for years. Right, where were we? The statisticians wrote, 30 years ago, around 39.3 million adults were married. This was 60% of all adults, so it's really not always been that high. The proportion of single adults rose from around 24 to around 33% within 30 years. In 1993, there was only just over 15.8 million singles, but by 2023, the number had risen to around 22.6 million. That's a pretty big increase. Only those who are not or have not been married are considered single. Okay. Divorced or widowed people do not belong in this category, as the federal office emphasized. So if you were married at any point, you're not including this number. But is this proportional though? I would love to see the actual proportional numbers. Like if Germany's population increased by that same amount, maybe that's just the same percentage. I'm not sure. According to the statisticians, only 361,000 marriages were conducted in 2023, second lowest number since 1950. 97% of these were between people of different sexes, and just under 3% were between same-sex couples. Same-sex marriages have been possible since 2017 and have been included in the statistics since 2018. So they still need a couple more years for their probably rise to that level. Or maybe not, because weddings might just be going out of style. The fact is that the proportion of married people have been shrinking for years is also due to the fact that many people are getting older and older when they marry for the first time, if they marry at all, says the federal office. According to the study, the average age at first marriage has increased by around 6 years in the past 3 decades. It's now an all-time high. In 2023, women were on average 32 years of age when they married for the first time, and men were 35 years. So people are getting married at almost 40. In 1993, the average age of the first marriage was 26, and for women, 29. So women haven't really changed that much. Women have, I'm wrong. Sorry. For women, it was 26, and for men, it was 29. So men have really changed from 29 to 35. Right? That's a huge increase. Whereas 26 and 30, well, I guess 26 and 32 is what, 4, 5, 6. 29 is, that's less actually. So women have changed. Women have been getting married older, and men haven't changed as much. Still, for psychotherapist Wolfgang Kruger I said that in Dutch, from Berlin, there were several reasons for this. We are usually not keen on getting married at any cost, he told the news agency DPA. In the past, this was the case because people were often dependent on each other, including financially. The low birth rate is also a reason. Without children, the question of marriage often does not arise. Yeah, the only reason, like I said, it's how the state controls you, right? If you have children, those children can be controlled by the state because they can say through law who is allowed or responsible of that child. So if you're not married, only one person will be responsible for the child, for example, the mother. And if you're in a same-sex couple marriage, this is definitely a problem in Italy, for example. If you have two moms, the mom who gave birth to you is the only one who's actually legally responsible for you, whereas the mom who is in Italy this case married, but in other cases not married, they can never see you, right? They can't visit you at the hospital, they can't adopt you if the other parent dies. So these are kind of the ways that marriage is used as a controlling mechanism, especially with children. So if you don't have children, no reason to put yourself under that mechanism of control, because they can't get you. You can just do whatever you want. Well, for the most part, when it comes to the things marriage controls. The number of divorcees is also at a historically low level. In 2023, around 129,000 marriages were dissolved by court order, the lowest figure since German reunification in 1990, and the second lowest since 1950. Those who marry do so very consciously, because they are also married later in life, said Kruger. So we marry when we have more experience with love, with people, and when we are already progressed somewhat in our own personal development. And many generally only marry when they know the person in question and live with them. So, makes sense. A lot of this stuff is you don't really even have to do a statistical analysis for, because it's kind of just common sense. The older you are, the more wise you are, usually, and the more decisions you make that are more thought out. Should we get married? Let's wait 8 years and discover if we should actually do that. Yeah, I'm 35. Let's get married. We've been together for 10 years now, so might as well. Of course, I guess the one scary sign about this is, depending if you care about rising human population. If you're getting married later, that means you're also having children later, because a lot of people do still wait until they're married to have children because of these marriage laws which control children.
Do they average in second and third marriages when this averages, or is it all first marriages?
Yeah, I think it's just people who are married. It doesn't. They said people who get widowed or divorced aren't included in the statistics, so I think it's just first marriages.
Oh, okay.
So specifically it says first marriages has increased. So this is all statistics about people getting married for the first time. I think it's either easier or harder to get married a second time, depending on your the results of your first marriage. So those numbers would definitely be different, I think.
Although some people just love getting married over and over again for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some people who keep trying, and there's some people who are like, I give up. That was a mess.
Like Elizabeth Taylor, or like Roger Waters has been married 5 times.
Yeah.
Like, he seems like a really unhappy person. Just judging by his music. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's the end of the article. You can go on to your stories now.
Okay, on to more Good Tuesday good news. This is about nature. We're going back to nature as often as we can here. This is from positive.news. Lucy Purdy is her name, actually. Restoration is helping native raptors thrive in Scotland, report shows. Data from the Cairngorms National Park captures the positive impact of ecological restoration work. A new report released by the organization that works to rehabilitate some of Scotland's most precious landscapes suggests that its efforts are bearing fruit in line with a promising national trend. Wildland Cairngorms covers around half of the area that's under the Cairngorms Connect Partnership area, some 600 square kilometers of land in total. Craigorms Connects is a partnership of neighboring land managers working towards a 200-year vision to improve habitat, species, and an ecological process. Well, I'm up around to see that 200 years. That would be cool to live 200 years. Since 2019, Wildland Craigorms has been the Craigorms, I want to say Craigorms, that's probably how it's pronounced, has been working on tagging and monitoring initiative for hen harriers, golden eagles, and goshawk on their estates in the park. In the latest report follows the stories of young birds of prey as they navigate the highlands and details the positive impact that restoration work has had on native raptors in the region. During 22 and 23, the team recorded 100% survival rate for its hen harrier nest. The golden eagle has also increased the number in the region from 4 breeding pairs in 21 to 7 in 23. In 21, saw 2 pairs of goshawk, previously persecuted to extinction in the UK, bred successfully on wild land for the first time. Over the past 5 years, experts have been able to track the movements of raptors, boosting understanding of their movements, threats, and what is needed to support their long-term thriving. Data has revealed that birds have traveled extensively across the highlands, with some golden eagles being tracked as far as the Inner Hebrides. These 2 survey figures give us hope that things are changing on a national scale. Ronan Dugan, a field ecologist at Wildland Limited, said that the results of the tagging and monitoring programs had proved incredibly useful. For example, we observed the hen harrier most frequently nests on our regenerating native moorland, he explained. This is encouraging as we know as conditions improve, we will have ample and more resilient habitat for them in the future. Dugan said the expansion of native woodland in the Craigorms has been extremely important. The Cairngorms, I think that's what it's called, Cairngorms. Yeah, I can't pronounce it. Cairngorms, let's do that. Have been extremely important for the return of the goshawk and the prey on which the birds depend. An elusive predator of the forest and open spaces, we are very grateful to have the goshawk back breeding in the landscape and adding to the important predator-prey balance in the rapidly regenerating large-scale conservation area. The most recent national survey of golden eagles in Scotland found there were 508 breeding pairs in 2015, an increase of 15% since the previous national survey in 2003. The last national survey of hen harriers was in 23 and found there to be 529 pairs breeding in Scotland, up 15% on the previous national survey 7 years earlier in 2016. Those survey figures give us hope that things are changing on a national scale, said Dugan. Wildland Cairngorms has been working with bodies outside of the region to bolster golden eagle numbers. Once widespread throughout southern Scotland, only a handful of breeding pairs remain in the region. With little breeding success and limited movement between the main Scottish population of eagles, in 2021, Wildland Cairngorms helped to bring about the translocation of a single golden eagle chick to reinforce the southern population. It came from a pair of golden eagles within the Wildland Cairngorms region that had been very productive in recent years, hatching twins for 4 consecutive years. Dugan said, "We are delighted to hear that the chick is doing well in its new home and hope it will have a long, productive life." And it's a landscape of hope that one day we can reverse the trend of loss and spark future for Scotland's wild places. Wildland Cairngorm encompasses Gake, Glenfishie, Killyhuntley, and Kinrara. Dugan said the land was in the process of healing itself after centuries of degradation and deforestation. It is a landscape full of hope that one day we can reverse the trend of loss and spark a positive future for Scotland's wild places. So there's your positive news on the return of raptors to Scotland as the circle of life. We got to obey that. Just because we think animals killing each other is cruel and deadly.
Mm-hmm.
It's nature. And humans, of course, are the cruelest and deadliest of them all. But we don't do it savagely. We do it at closed doors and slaughterhouses. So we're civilized. We're civilized. Anyway, back to you with more good news.
Yeah, terrible. And good news for the raptors. I'm glad to see the biodiversity returning to Scotland, which has definitely been a problem, especially after they got rid of most of their wolves, for example.
Yeah.
So
they got sheeps and rabbits. That's what they got. Sheep and rabbits.
And,
that's their wildlife.
No predators except for the human, I suppose. We're the predator.
Yeah, humans are the predator. Automobiles are what number one killer of any. Yeah.
Poor hedgehogs getting run over by, so sad, by cars.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Yeah, and foxes, I guess. Foxes are a predator, but they mostly are in the same place as humans, and then they get killed too. Anyways, enough that sad news about the state of human and animal relations. Let's go into the state of electric cars in Norway. This is from Agence France-Presse. Electric cars are charged... Oh, sorry, this is a pictured description. This is coming out of Oslo, Norway. Almost 93% of new cars registered in Norway in January were electric. An unparalleled number in the world, close to the country's goal of selling only zero-emission vehicles as of this year. A total of 9,343 new cars were sold in January, of which 8,954 were all electric. The Norwegian Road Federation, OVFV, said. Of the 50 most sold models, only 2 were non-electric, the first of which came in 33rd place, the OVFV said. By comparison, the share of electric cars in Europe was just 13.6% in the full year 2024, a decline for the first time since 2020, according to the car manufacturers lobby ACEA. We've never seen this before. If the rest of the year continues like this, we will very soon be close to the 2025 goal, OFV Director Øyvind Solberg Thorsen said in a statement. But if we want to cross the finish line with 100% electric cars, it will be necessary to maintain the incentives that make it profitable to choose an electric car over the other models, he added. Despite being a major oil and gas producer, I also know this, Norway aims for all new cars sold to be zero emission starting in 2025, which is 10 years ahead of the goal set by the European Union, of which Norway is not a member. In contrast to Brussels' plans, Oslo has not banned the sale of cars with internal combustion engines, having instead opted for a system of generous tax breaks that have made them competitive against the heavily taxed internal combustion cars. Well, that's what they always say about Norway, right? Oh yeah, they're the best country in the world, but their taxes are high. Well, if you buy an electric car, they're not. I guess so. They've also benefited from the toll exemptions, free parking in public car parks, and the use of public transport traffic lanes. Basically, you get all the bonuses of not being a gas car. While some tax breaks and incentives have been rolled back over the years, electric cars have become commonplace on Norwegian roads. It was a decision primarily motivated by the climate and environment considerations. Frode Hovatum, a 50-year-old father of 3 who owns 2 EVs, told AFP. Another reason was, of course, the benefits that come with them, he said, describing himself as a climate enthusiast. In his upscale neighborhood of Bærum in suburban Oslo, the streets are full of Teslas, Audis, Volkswagens. Competitively priced Chinese brands are increasingly appearing too. Many homes have a garage with an EV charger, in addition to Norway's vast national network of super-fast charging stations that keep the nation rolling. It was a precondition for Frode Hovatum, who, like many Norwegians, travels frequently by car to his chalet in the mountains several hours from Oslo. It's less complicated now that the network is so well developed. We don't have to plan your trip as much as before, he said, adding that he uses the 15 to 20 minute charging breaks needed to make up the mountains to shop for food. That's pretty good, 15 to 20 minutes charging. That's not that bad. And it's also good to get out and stretch your legs, you know? This is like car mandated breaks. Even if EV sales fail to meet the 100% mark this year, experts say that Norway can be seen as having met its goal. We should finish the year at between 95 and 100%, probably even at the high end of this range. Christina Bu, head of Norwegian Electric Vehicle Association, told the AFP. A new tax increase on internal combustion cars and rechargeable hybrids, which are cleaner but still run partially on petrol or diesel, on April 1st should help. In January, diesel cars accounted for just 1.5% of new cars registered in Norway, and petrol cars just 0.4%, according to OFV. Political leaders can't rest on their laurels, Bu warned. They have to maintain the advantages, such as toll discounts, so that the transition to EVs spread on the second-hand market, she stressed. Okay, but then what do you do when you've gotten rid of all the gas cars and the diesel cars? Do you put the tolls back? Do you say, okay, now that we're 100% all electric vehicles, the tolls are back on? And then people are like,
That's right.
well, I guess I did buy this car for 10 years, so I guess I should keep using it, even though it doesn't give me the benefits anymore.
Well, the benefits of not buying gas.
Yeah, I guess so. That's true. They do still charge you to charge your car, though. So.
Right. Yeah. But you can also plug it in at your house, so. If you just daily commute, you don't have to charge it all the time.
Yeah. But that's my story about electric cars in Norway.
So we're on to more good news, I guess. All right. This one needs a little bit more of a, what do you want to call it? The size of the typing so I can read it. The size of the fonts, that's a word. And good news in the UK about working. We have hundreds, this is a story from positive.news, hundreds of UK firms embraced a 4-day week. It was once brushed off as a utopian thinking, but this week, the 4-day week becoming a reality for thousands of more UK employees as 200 firms committed to a shorter working week with no loss of pay for staff. Tech companies, construction businesses, and accountancies were among the businesses making the switch after participating in a recent trial. They collectively employ an estimated 5,000 people. It's worked really well for us, says Amy Spooner, assistant director of marketing agency Berry, which has made the switch 4 years ago. There is more positive energy in the office. Around 1.5 million employees are thought to work shorter week in the UK, which in 2022 ran the world's largest 4-day week trial. It was linked with the improvements in staff well-being and retention and led to a notable dip in no notable dip in productivity. Critics question whether such results can be sustained, but an increasing number of UK companies are willing to find out. This is a progressive issue that the UK is leading on, Joe Ryle, campaign director of the 4-Day Week Foundation, told Positive News, and it's just beginning. As news technology comes in, workers can be freed and have more leisure time. I think there's an inevitability to the 4-day week becoming mainstream. Well, good for the UK. I know France has embraced the 4-day week. I don't know if they're working 4 8-day weeks or they're working 4 10-day weeks, which is one way of getting around the fact that you're giving people a day off. Just make them work a couple extra hours each day, or even 1 hour. But they'll appreciate the whole entire extra day off, I'll tell you that. And I know in the United States, a lot of companies, especially if you're a contractor in the federal government, you will go to the 9-day over 2-week work week and get every other Friday off. That's very common. On to other good news. We're going to talk about 10 tips for overcoming self-doubt, including adopting a power pose. All right. This is what interests me, the power pose. I got to come up with a power pose. Well, everybody should. This is also from goodnewsnetwork.org, their number one source for good news, because they're easy to find. This is from Tim Foster, All right, here we go. Our 10 tips. A life coach and former nurse, Christina Russell, has shared her top 10 strategies for overcoming self-doubt, including adopting a power pose, which is proven to help confidence or to boost confidence. There are ups and downs in every personal growth journey, says the Florida coach, but self-doubt is a pervasive issue for many. Yeah, self-doubt is really very common. It's actually very healthy to doubt yourself. Being an obnoxious jerk like, some certain millionaires and billionaires is not a way to be. They're completely blowing smoke up your ass most of the time because of their own low self-esteem, and you just believe in everything they say. But these people don't even consider themselves to be, doubters. But they're full of self-doubt because they're always boasting on their own wealth. All right, number one in our journey to create a more, let's call it a overcoming self-doubt or a more positive self-image. Let's say that. Number one, create a wins journal. Write down daily accomplishments, no matter how small. Sometimes simply acknowledging regular wins helps reinforce what you're capable of. It shifts the focus to your strengths rather than your failures. Good idea. What did I do today? I tied my shoe. Oh, I'm awesome. Tied the other shoe. 2 things I did awesome. Anything you do right. Oh, I was able to kill that mosquito that was bothering me or whatever. Just anything. Probably shouldn't involve death, though. That's probably a bad example. Anyway. I can kill stuff. Anyway. Number 2, rewrite your inner critic. Instead of succumbing to negative self-talk, treat yourself with the same respect you show a friend. Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I'm still learning and it's part of the process." Or as I say, it's not a mistake, it's a learning experience. I've been saying that every time I make a mistake, I say that. I learned something. And my boss is like, yeah, but I learned something. So it's hi. Anyway. You can even try positive punishments like doing 50 sit-ups whenever you backslide. This can help you build consistency and a good habit. Although, I don't know if you want to do 50 sit-ups every time you backslide. Or you can do 50 backslides whenever you sit up. That's even another thing you can. I don't know how to do a backslide, but it sounds painful because my back hurts. Number 3, visualize your future self. Emphasize the power of imagining yourself as the person you aspire to become. Step inside the mindset of either right before bedtime or early in the morning. It can be an incredible confidence booster. That's right. I'm an internationally known opera singer. That's who I am, by golly. There you go. And that's who you are, man. And you'll have pleasant dreams and you'll wake up thinking, yes, the world is mine. Number 4. Not literally, the world is mine, more of a symbolic thing. Number 4, adopt a beginner's mindset. Give yourself permission to not have all the answers. Challenges are opportunities for growth and not failures. Being a know-it-all is great. Having knowledge is great, but constantly letting people know that you're a know-it-all is a pain in the ass. So learn. Shut your freaking mouth and learn. Yeah. You'll be surprised what you don't know. The world is full of stuff you don't know, man. Just because you think you're smart, it usually means you're not that smart. If you think you're finished, you probably are, right? Because you stopped learning. I know it all I need to know. I'm 36, Okay, 36. What you gonna do with the rest of your life? Just act like you know it all? Yeah. Number 5, surround yourself with growth-minded people. Positive energy is contagious. That's true. So is negative energy. Be around people with goals who support one another. Damn right. Who wants a Debbie Downer hanging out and going, life is hard and the people are making it hard for me. That's really hard to take. It's like, get up off your ass and stop acting like somebody owes you something. You are in control, not the world. At number 6, those are my little encouraging words, and I moved my camera. Sorry, folks. It was bothering me. Number 6, take tiny steps. Breaking down goals into small, manageable actions is a cornerstone of positive philosophy. Momentum will build your confidence. You can do what I do. Break things down into groups of 3. They're easy to remember, and they're easy to focus on, and you don't even have to write them down. If everything's in groups of 3, you can move on to the next thing, and Build a pyramid of success. Boy, I should write a book, right? Write a book on this. A pyramid of success. Woohoo! Boy, I just pulled that out of my ass. Number 7, practice a power pose. Now they've got this lady here is doing this. I got to do the power pose she's doing. Okay, hold on. This is more like a Jesus Christ pose. She has her hands up like, and she's looking into the sun. You can see her absorbing the sun's rays, and just going, I live in this tropical island. Life is good. That's what she looks like, wearing a jean jacket. Practice a power pose. Try posing in confidence-boosting postures for 2 minutes before tackling a challenging risk. This is proven to reduce stress and increase self-assurance. Man, these are actually good ideas, man. I never thought about power pose. That's the one I was looking for. I wanted to see what a power pose looked like. Number 8, learn to celebrate failure. View setbacks as feedback. List alternative solutions and view the problem as an objective outsider instead of taking it so personally. That's right. I learned something today. Don't stick your face into a fan, Stuff like that. Number 9, ask for feedback. Honest feedback from a friend or professional can help identify your blind spots or strengths that you may be overlooking. That may be tough to take, right? I don't know about that one. Honest feedback. Well, you're kind of ugly. Well, then there's nothing I can do about that. I'm just ugly. It's how it is. Number 10 of our 10 tips. Create a personal affirmation ritual. Writing affirmations that resonate with your values and goals can help you instill them in your consciousness. Say them out loud each morning and tape them to your mirror to set a positive tone for the day. Yes, if you need that kind of help, definitely try that. Just say to yourself, man, I'm really pretty good. I'm really not. Look around you. That's another thing. My number 11, look around you. Everybody's going through some shit and maybe not even handling it as well as you. So even though it doesn't feel like you're not alone or you are alone or whatever, most people are going through some shit and they can't handle it. They're just doing a better job of faking it than you are, perhaps. But there's your 10 tips. And this will make you a better person, a more positive person, and it'll make your days a little bit more enjoyable. I promise. You got my guarantee. So there's your story. Back to you.
I mean, I can agree with that as well, because I actually do a lot of that stuff already in my own life, right? I love going to the mirror and just giving myself compliments, just looking at myself, not only complimenting myself, right? But when I see myself smile, I get like a feedback, right? I compliment myself, I go, oh yeah, and then I see myself smile and I smile more, and then I'm just the most grittiest person ever.
Right. It feeds on itself like a snowball rolling downhill.
Yeah, it just keeps going. So yeah, positive affirmations are very important. Just realizing we're all humans out here, we're all actually fallible, and that's okay. And yeah, the first mistakes, or those mistakes are just teaching you how to do it right the next time. It's kind of like the scientific theory, right?
Get down on you. So. If people get down on you, it's likely they're down on themselves, right? Because they got nobody else to blame. So they found somebody who fucked up, so it makes them happy to criticize you. I'm better than that guy. Anyway, I sent you a video, by the way.
Okay. And for our next segment, let's cover the Endiablada festival, which is in our culture segment here. This is coming out of Spain on AP News. Every year, in early February, local residents in Spanish village of Almonacid del Masguados celebrate the feast day of the Virgin of Candelaria, with devils and dancers taking the streets in a vibrant display of faith and tradition. The village has celebrated the Endiablada, Brotherhood of the Devils, festival each February 2nd and 3rd since at least medieval times. During the festival, men from the town dress up as devil-type characters in colorful jumpsuits and red mitre hats. So they're not very scary, is what I'm trying to say. Though there are some people who definitely try to be scary. This guy has a zombie mask on. Donning large, heavy copper cowbells around their waists, which clang incessantly, the men walk, dance, and jump through the town's winding streets and visit the cemetery. Only men born in the village or descendants of the villagers are allowed to be devils and participate in La Endiablada. You love good old Spanish machismo. Only men are allowed to do this. Why? I don't know. They've got balls, so they can carry around the cowbells, because it's the same thing, basically. I don't know. The cowbells weigh about 13 to 14 kilos, or 28 to 30 pounds, but for us it's not tiring because we live it. We carry it inside us, said Carmelo Sanchez, one of the devil participants. Like I said, women aren't strong enough to lift a bell, so they can't participate. Have you let a woman try to lift a bell? No, we just assumed they couldn't lift one, so we didn't even let her enter. Anyways, I hate when people say you're not allowed to do that for no reason. Young boys take part with a small cowbells hanging from their backs, ensuring the tradition will continue into the next generation. It was very, very peculiar with so many cowbells, said Hiroko Notomi, a tourist who was among the spectators watching La Endiablada. It's a very interesting festival, and besides, it's not like a big city festival. I like that a lot. Sorry, I'm going through a bunch of cool pictures, but I can't read the pictures, so I'm just scrolling like, oh, very cool. I wish you guys could see this. But
you gotta do the pose. Well, I can't see you, but.
And then we can see the pictures together. Mm-hmm. In their hats, we've got the men in their jumpsuits. They don't look very scary, right? They just look like dudes in jumpsuits with little like cardboard hats on, like little circular, kind of what people wear to get out of their Christmas crackers during Christmas. Here we got some more. There's even girls there. There's women dancing the Endiablada traditional festival in Almoncia del Mascaro. So women still participate. I don't know why the article said like, oh, only men do this, because women also participate. They do other things, but I guess they're not allowed to lift the bells because they might break their back or something. You got some kids dressed up. You've got a whole line of people as a man passes by. And here we got the kids at the stairway, the kid running through the crowd. Also, some flowers in the caps. That's, I guess, a very important thing to point out. They put flowers on the top of their caps. So think of marching band, right? The weird circular square hats I wore during marching band. But instead of a feather, you have flowers coming out of the top.
Uh-huh.
Or plants. Mostly flowers. That's the idea. Okay. So, and that's what we're seeing here. And some people carry around like a little staff with a head on top of it. I'm not sure why. And a lot of people are wearing like harnesses to hold their bells. There's a woman reacts as the members of the Endiablada Brotherhood take part inside of a church during the Endiablada traditional festival. Yeah, so a woman's crying because it's probably very emotional, communal event. Brings a lot of, community. And a lot of people, I get emotional when I see like community events. I'm like, I want to do a community event. Guy smoking a cigar, I think. Yeah, he's smoking a cigar next to a bunch of the cowbells. And I think that's it. So, there you go. There is your fun little celebration in this town in Almonacid del Marquesado, Spain. I'll say it right one day. And celebrating community, celebrating tradition, and carrying really heavy cowbells.
More cowbell.
Yeah, exactly. More. They have plenty. You have three cowbells.
Let's get Christopher Walken in here. I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell. Is it this day in history yet?
Yep, we can start this day in history.
This day in history, back in February 4th of 1787, Shays Rebellion, an uprising in western Massachusetts, in opposition to high taxes and stringent economic conditions, was defeated by the Springfield militia. Did the Springfield militia have Springfield rifles? I wonder. Probably not. I don't know if Springfield rifles existed.
Well, who are they? If they weren't named after the militia, who are they named after? Some dude? Oh, that's lame.
The town of Springfield, Massachusetts. Are we talking about Shays Rebellion? Probably the guy who made them. Springfield's probably just a town in Massachusetts. I don't think it had anything to do with rifles. I'm sure they had muskets maybe, but I don't know if rifles were in wide use in 1787. I'd have to look it up. 1789, 2 years later, George Washington was elected to serve as the first U.S. president. So this is the election of the first president of the United States happened on this day in 1789. And it was a unanimous vote of the Electoral College. Back then, it was just some guys in a room. 1902, American aviator Charles Lindbergh was born. He was the best known figures in aeronautical history. He was born in Detroit, Michigan. Charles Lindbergh, the first solo flight across the Atlantic, and one without stopping. I should say non-stop across the Atlantic. 1906, German Protestant theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer was born in Breslau, Germany, which is now called Wrocław, Poland. Oh, Poland, you had been invaded so many times and had your land chopped up so many times. 1921, American feminist Betty Friedan was born. She was the co-founder of the National Organization of Women and author of The Feminine Mystique. So happy birthday to Betty Friedan, who would be 104 today. 1932, the United States hosted its first Winter Olympic Games in Lake Placid, New York. Anniversary of that, the Winter Olympics, 1932. 1938, Thornton Wilder's Our Town, a classic portrayal of small town American life, made its Broadway debut. Our Town is replayed many, many times in local theaters all over the country. 1948, Ceylon, which is now called Sri Lanka, gained independence from Great Britain as the British Empire continued to break up in 1948. 1974, newspaper heiress Patty Hearst was kidnapped by members of the Symbionese Liberation Army. She later changed her name to Tanya and became a member of the group and helped in a bank robbery. That's why she went to prison.
Yeah.
And she went to prison.
Well, people argue a very good case of Stockholm Syndrome.
Stockholm Syndrome, right? She identified with her kidnappers. But, of course, made the quote I said before is by Warren Zevon. Patty Hearst heard the burst of Roland's Thompson gun and bought it. 2003, Yugoslavia officially changed its name to Serbia and Montenegro. So they get tired of a long name, so they picked an even longer name. Well, it's two countries, right? Serbia and Montenegro, or is it one? Yeah, it's two countries. Okay, they should say that. They should say it changed its name and split up into two countries, Serbia and Montenegro.
I'm sure you were alive for this, but I'll go over it for everyone else. I was not alive for this. Yugoslavia broke up in 1994, I believe, or 1990. I was not alive, but I did learn about it in my degree, and that is Yugoslavia was, if I remember correctly, four countries: Serbia,
Kosovo,
Croatia. Kosovo didn't exist yet.
Serbia,
That's why they broke
Kosovo.
up. You could argue.
Right. Montenegro.
Yeah. Montenegro, yeah. Oh, maybe but 5 countries. It was like Bulgaria, Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro, and
Bulgaria remained a country during the Soviet Union.
No, it was part of Yugoslavia. Because the thing is,
it was still there was still a country called Bulgaria during the Soviet Union.
Well, I mean, maybe I have to look this up, but I swear Croatia and Serbia were constantly fighting over having Bulgaria's land, because they're right in between there. That's what they got in a fight over.
Yeah, piece of
in
land.
Yugoslavia.
That's Serbia and Croatia.
Yeah,
there was none of that during the Soviet Union. None of them people.
No, because it's not the Soviet Union. Because Yugoslavia was its own country. Right. It wasn't part of the Soviet Union. It was its own country under Tito.
Okay.
Yeah. 2004.
2004. The website Facebook was launched. Yay, Facebook, I guess. As the Facebook.com. Later, it would become the largest social network in the world and deteriorate into a bunch of crap. And 2012, British servicewoman Florence Green, the last surviving veteran of World War I, died at the age of 110. Wow. The last surviving veteran of World War I. I wonder what she did during World War I. 2020, Kenyan politician Daniel Arap Moi died at the age of 95. He served as the country's president for almost 25 years. So that happened 5 years ago today. Our featured event, as you're rolling along here, is the Yalta Conference in 1945. The Yalta Conference opened on this day in 1945 during the final stages of World War II. The Yalta Conference opened with Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin meeting to plan the final defeat and occupation of Nazi Germany. How are we going to divide this shit up, is what they said. And our feature biography, Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was born on this day, February 4th, 1913. Refused to sit in the back of the bus. Caused a big stink and started a huge civil rights movement. She died October 24th, 2005 at the age of 92 in Detroit, Michigan. I keep reading this article about the guy who founded Little Caesars Pizza. It was a Detroit guy. He found out that Rosa Parks was, I guess she was mugged. He found that out that she was mugged and she was being threatened with eviction. And the owner of Little Caesars Pizza paid Rosa Parks' rent or whatever the rest of her life, took care of her the rest of her life. So good guy there. 1913, that was her birthday. Other birthdays today, Ida Lupino, American actress and director and screenwriter, born in 1918. Dan Quayle's birthday. Dan Quayle, former vice president of the United States, who can't spell potato, who was born in 1947. He puts an E at the end of potato. That's the thing he's famous for. Yes, Dan likes his E's. So he turns 78 today. Dan Quayle turns 78. Lawrence Taylor's birthday. He was born in 1959. American football player and sexual predator Lawrence Taylor, who for some reason hasn't been canceled. It's funny how some people never get canceled, no matter how shitty they are. Like Brett Favre. That dude should have been canceled a long fucking time ago. And I'm a Brett Favre, like a Packer fan. Like, I don't get why certain people just get away with shit. Also, birthday today is Oscar De La Hoya, American boxer, Olympic gold medalist, born in 1973. So Oscar De La Hoya turning 52 today. And National Day today, it's National Thank a Mail Carrier Day. So go out there when they're bringing your mail and say, hey, you're doing a great job. Have some vodka. I don't know. And it's National Creative Vacuum Day. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a vacuum inside my mind and forget everything. About 5 minutes. So it's Creative Vacuum Day. I'm not sure exactly what that encompasses. It's National Homemade Soup Day, which is good. Good time to have soup is in the wintertime. Should never have National Homemade Soup Day in the summer because people are not in the mood for soup for some reason. And it's National Hemp Day, which is what we're going to congratulate ourselves on. So those are your days. That's everything for today. All the news, all the good news, all the things that'll make your life better on February 4th, 2025 on Before Homemade Soup.
Yeah.
There we go.
Let me quickly.
Yeah, homemade soup.
I love homemade soup. It's the best kind.
They're making some kind of butternut squash soup here. Looks pretty good.
Nice and creamy. All right. Let's clarify the Yugoslavia thing just so we get our facts straight. Because I did look it up. So the countries that were in Yugoslavia were Croatia, Slovenia, Macedonia, Bosnia. That's why I kept on thinking it was a country to be.
Yeah, it was the one I couldn't think of. Bosnia,
Bosnia and Herzegovina. And then, of course, you're talking about the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, which was Serbia and
I would have came up with Bosnia. I was about to come up with the Bosnia, but you said Bulgaria distracted me.
Yeah, I got confused as well.
Oh, your fault.
I'm so bad with, this is why I say I'm bad with, name recall. But, yeah, so one of the main reasons
it's just another
Yugoslavia
thing you can improve. That's all.
One of the main things that reasons Yugoslavia broke up is because Croatia and Serbia were constantly fighting over the land that was Bosnia, because Bosnia was kind of in the middle, crushed between them, and so they kind of just imploded because of that. Croatia and Serbia never got along. Yeah. They never got along.
They were slapped together, right? They were slapped together by the Soviet Union in the first place after World War II. And before that, they were called the Sudetenland.
Well, I wouldn't say the Soviet Union was responsible for that. I would say the person who was power. I'm just saying that nowhere here does it say the Soviet Union did that.
They were just part of the communist bloc. So
yeah, but they were all unified under Tito, which is his own guy. He was a alternate power to Stalin. He wasn't following under Stalin. He was actually had the power to push against. He was a one-stop shop for Soviet Union to deal with. He wasn't like, we got to deal with all these other countries. No, let's deal with Tito. Yeah, I'm just saying that he wasn't part of the Soviet Union. That's all I want to say. They were never part of the Soviet Union. They were communists, yes. But Tito was his own power, his own world power. Maybe not enough for you to remember, but he definitely was not a puppet of Stalin. Stalin actually had to push him a lot to get things done. It's like it's like a small EU, but out of East European states.
Czechoslovakia was in the same kind of boat, right?
No, Czechoslovakia was a satellite state. There's like Poland was a satellite state. That's why all those countries constantly had protests.
But Czechoslovakia has broken up. It has broken up, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it became Czechia and Slovakia. Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that.
Anyways, I just wanted to get my facts straight on Eastern Europe and the history of Soviet Union. Just because Yugoslavia was not part of the Soviet Union.
And I was wrong about the Sudetenland. The Sudetenland was actually Czechoslovakia.
Okay. All right. Anyways, let's finish off the show. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. Another Good Tuesday News Day. This has been Ali here from the Netherlands. Of course, Roger from the West Coast of the US. As we tie this day off, remember to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the Ali and Ron channel. Turn on those notifications. And comment down below if you were alive when Yugoslavia was a country, because I wasn't. If you've even heard of the country called Yugoslavia. And we will see you tomorrow for Wacky News Wednesday.
Ever heard of a car called the Yugo, which is kind of a terrible car that they sold in the United States.
Yeah, have you ever heard the national anthem, which was Hey Slavs from 1945 and 1992? I love that. That's the name of their national anthem. Anyways, we will see you tomorrow for Wacky and Weird Wednesday. We'll continue to say wacky and weird things that hopefully don't get us canceled on the internet. I already have a couple of stories about clowns and stuff going on, so don't worry about that. And take care out there.
Tomorrow, we can preview tomorrow. We're going to talk about Save the Parasites is one of my stories, and a fossil hunter discovers ancient vomit.
I'm going to talk about a clown church. So... we hope to see you guys for that episode tomorrow.
We're going to talk about the juggalos?
No, it's not that. But we hope to see you guys for that. Take care out there. Make sure to make mistakes and learn from them and give yourself positive affirmations in the mirror. And let's go to our mic drop moment for this National Hemp Day.
Ooh, nice music.
Good old hemp.
Futuristic.
Yeah. Hemp is the fiber of the future.
That's right. Hemp is fiber.
National Hemp Day. National Hemp Day is a holiday that falls on February 4th and celebrates a variety of the cannabis sativa
plants. Look how tall they can get too. They're like bamboo.
Industrial uses for hundreds
but
of
people
years.
can't smoke bamboo, so you're allowed to grow bamboo.
Although hemp was originally used for making rope and fibers for clothing, it's now used for hundreds of different applications, including pharmaceutical research, biofuel, and CBD oil. All of these are good reasons to celebrate this hardworking plant.
Yes,
this holiday
was a hard
invented
worker.
in 2019 by CBDMD, a company that not surprisingly sells CBD topicals,
There's a lot of smoke around those plants.
gummies, and other assorted THC-free CBD products made from hemp.
I think it's also a fun fact that it doesn't use a lot of water.
4,800 years, all the way back to China in 2800
It's got broad
BC.
leaves too to catch water.
It was also widely used around the Mediterranean, and during the Middle Ages,
I love watching these people just like molest hemp.
Ships used hemp rope, and the
they're just like, oh, let me
from
touch
hemp
the
was
leaves.
used to make sails. In fact, the word canvas derives from the word cannabis.
It does smell good. I like the smell.
This is how they collect hemp oil.
Clothing and other
They
materials.
just rub it on their hands.
During the 1500s, hemp would begin to be grown in Chile, and by the 1600s, it was also being grown in North America.
I mean, it's a
As
weed,
was the
so it
case
can grow
during the
anywhere.
Middle
That's
Ages, hemp
it's a
was
miracle
extremely
plant,
useful
really.
for
And
ships.
Thomas Jefferson had a
Hemp was
giant
used
hemp
for making the
giant
lamps,
hemp farm.
sails, and even the cockings on ships.
The Declaration of
And ships
Independence is
even
made on
carried stores of
paper
hemp
that was
seeds,
made from
so
hemp.
the captains could distribute far and wide. This was to allow it to be grown
It was
anywhere hemp fibers
the
might
job
be
of
needed for
big
ship
paper
repairs.
to make
Even British
marijuana
farmers in
illegal,
North
so
America
they
were
could
compelled
replace
by
them.
law to grow hemp.
Their pulp, their
By
It's
wood
the
not
pulp.
even-
mid-17th century, hemp was an important
It's
part
not.
of New
It's
England's
not even a
economy.
plant that
It
will
was used for creating cordage,
that will produce
sacks, paper, and
THC.
cloth.
Yeah.
It would continue to be an important
You can
part
smoke
of the
it.
American
It'll get you
economy
some kind
until
of
it was
buzz, but
outlawed
it's
in
not going to be a THC
1937.
buzz.
Fortunately, marijuana
The plant is
legalization
a
is
victim
making
of
hemp
the
more
flower it
accessible to a new
produces,
generation
basically.
of people
It's like if
and
you made
industries.
apple trees, apples
Observing
illegal,
National
so that you
Hemp
just
Day
started
is
cutting
easy.
down apple
All
trees.
that you have to do is to support the farmers, researchers,
All
and
apple
Just
trees
hold
are
that leaf
illegal
like it's,
or
because they
make hemp
couldn't grow
products.
one apple, you know?
And it's funny that the symbol for for smoking pot is the leaf, and you don't smoke the leaf.
No.
You won't
Yeah.
get anything from it. But for some people, I smoke that leaf. Okay, go smoke it.
Don't fall for
But you
the
smoke the flower. Bub.
propaganda, man.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.